Hello, it's me, Christopher, aka Boinga, and like anyone, I made a New Year's resolution. After New Year's, because I couldn't think of a good one on New Year's, but I've thought of one now, and my New Year's resolution is to challenge myself. And the way I'm going to do that is by attempting what might be the hardest New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe challenge ever conceived. Beating the game without pressing left or right. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How is this challenge going to be possible? Well, one of our biggest helpers is multiplayer. Multiplayer can help us in several ways, like using our bubble to float over to the other player and throwing them, thus moving right without pressing left or right. And if we ever want to turn to the left for vertical stages, just throw your brother into a wall, hope they don't get a concussion, and now you're facing left and you're on your merry way. Bubbling over to the other player and ground pounding them can also move you to the right or to the left, which can be useful for hitting power-up blocks that could have super acorns in them. Which brings us to by far the best way to move right or left, the super acorn. While throwing the other player is a good way of moving, it also has its cons. It's unprecise and you can only throw the other player so far. It's also very slow, so if you try to beat a level with just throwing each other, you're sure to run out of time. But all of those problems are fixed with the Super Acorn. By pressing ZR in the air, you can do an updrift, which moves you in whichever way you're facing. You can also stop your momentum in the air by ground pounding, which can make sure that you don't just drift off the edge or into an enemy. The updrift also goes pretty far, and combined with pressing ZR in the air after you use your updrift, you can stall in the air for longer. Pressing ZR on the ground to do a spin jump gets you more height than a normal jump, and you can still updrift and air stall after you spin jump. Okay, with the explanation out of the way, let's begin. So, Mario, Luigi, the princess, and the fungi are just chilling when Bowser invades the castle and kicks everyone but the princess out, and we gotta save her, and oh my god, we already have to press right! Well, I thought the explanation was over, but I guess not. So I consider there to be two types of left and right presses. One of them doesn't really happen in gameplay, like moving on the world map or going through pipes. These will be called non-gameplay left and right presses. Now, there's an argument to be made that you're playing the game, and that a left or a right press is just that. But imagine you're playing a game, and you press A to move along the dialogue. Like, sure, you're playing the game, but can you call pressing one button required to beat the game gameplay? And that's what non-gameplay left and right presses are. Just something required to beat the game that doesn't happen during gameplay. So gameplay left and right presses are our main priority, although we will be trying just for fun and for a little extra challenge to avoid as many non-gameplay left and right presses as we can. And we will be going left if there's a fork in the road, just because there are a lot more non-gameplay right presses than non-gameplay left presses in the game. And at the end of the video I'll say how many non-gameplay left and right presses are required to beat the game. And this goes without saying, but I thought I'd say it anyways, that the menus and cutscenes do not count. Okay. Let's finally go to the first level, Acorn Plains 1, Acorn Plains Way. This level is pretty easy. Considering it's the first level of the game, it's not too hard to believe. Just throw each other to the power-up block, stomp on the Goomba, and get your Super Acorn. Bottomless pits aren't too prominent in this level, and when they are in your path, they're usually not too hard to avoid. So your biggest enemy are these stupid waddle wings that just fly into you sometimes. Just make sure to respect where they're flying, and you should have no problem getting to the end. If you end the level when the timer's two last digits are 7, then Toad will give you a Super Acorn which you can store in your item menu to use whenever you die. Moving on to Acorn Plains 2, Tilted Tunnel. This level can be difficult if you don't know what you're doing. But the easiest way of doing it is having one bro get a fire flower and just scorching every enemy in the path, so that the other bro can move safely. This level may take a few tries to complete, but once you get the hang of it, it's a breeze. And this level also has our first secret exit. Just go up here and updrift through this narrow tunnel, go up even higher, and go through this pipe to finish the level. Taking the secret exit takes us to Acorn Plains Blooper's secret lair. Now, when I was first thinking about if this level was going to be possible, I was kind of scared. Underwater, you can't throw players, and you can't updrift, so essentially, you can't move at all. I had an idea that I wanted to try, but sadly I tried it off camera. The idea was to have all 4 players play a weird sort of leapfrog from where the player at the back would bubble to the player at the front, and it would keep moving like that. But while I was trying to set everything up, I noticed something strange. Toadette was moving by herself. Now, I was controlling Toadette with a Joy-Con, so I didn't know if it was just drifting like it sometimes does, but I put her on a Pro controller and it was doing the same thing. So Mario, Luigi, and Toad are all normal difficulty, but Toadette and Nabbit are easier and easiest to play with respectively. More on Nabbit later. Toadette is a little bit easier because she can turn into Peachette, which doesn't help us in this challenge because she can't move right. By pressing B, we can even swim faster in the water, and we don't even have to press right because Toadette always goes right, which can actually be to our detriment, but I'll tell you more about that later. Now, I know that Toadette's swimming technique is probably common knowledge to a lot of people, but in my defense, I don't play as Toadette. I only play as my boy Luigi. And I definitely don't play as any character that is easier to play. Because I'm just so cool like that. Well, I guess I only play them in challenges, so I'm not that cool, I guess. And ew, I got hat hair. So with Toadette, this level is actually the easiest level so far and feels normal to play. Until we go into this pipe, where we meet our biggest challenge yet. Here's where Toadette always going right isn't a good thing. There's a pipe up here and we need to get to it. The problem is that once we're to the right, there's no way to turn around and go left. So that means that we have to be on the left side and just swim over to the pipe. But that's pretty hard considering there's 4 pipes with air bubbles that push you to the right. My first idea was to swim up and try to get pushed to the left by the pipes, but no matter how many times I tried, I couldn't do it. I came up with another idea. I'd have my mom hold down Toadette so that she wouldn't go right, and Mario can infinitely bubble and go back to Toadette. But even holding down Toadette, she still moves to the right. She moves slower to the right if you press down, but eventually Toadette got stuck, and the biggest problem of not being far enough to the left is still present. I kept trying anyways, and the next time I tried, I figured out something interesting. When I bubbled to Toadette, I noticed that I accidentally nudged her a little bit to the left. After that, I kept bubbling to Toadette to try to nudge her again and pushed her far enough to the left for me to bubble to her and to be able to get past the air bubble pipes. I had a little bit more than a big scare when I got to the pipe at the top and almost died to bloopers trying to bloop me out of existence, but I finished the level. So thanks, Mom. It wouldn't have been possible without you. Well, that level took way too long, but it was well worth it, because we skipped past the rest of World 1, all of World 2, 3, and even the airship level that comes before the 5th world, which brings us to World 5, Soda Jungle 1, Jungle of the Giants. This level isn't too difficult. As long as we jump off of enemies using ground pounds to stop our momentum, we can get an extra updrift. When you master that, you're good. The next level is Soda Jungle 2, Bridge Over Poisoned Waters. This level can be a little bit tricky because of these rolling logs that roll us into the poisoned soda if we don't jump off of them. A little bit after the checkpoint, you have to platform on some brick blocks that come out of the soda. Make note of the pattern, jump, and ground pound accordingly. Soda Jungle Tower, Snake Block Tower, is like nothing we've seen before, and that's because I don't know if it's possible. This is a vertical level where you have to ride a snake block to the top. The snake block moves left and right, all while you're trying to dodge electric amps and swinging spiky balls. There's a chance that it could be possible if you carefully planned out with 4 friends all doing their own jobs, using invincibility from being popped out of bubbles, but that's really just speculation, and the level is way too hard for me to try. But if any of you viewers watching manage to complete the level, then just send me a video of it on the email that's in my About page on YouTube, and I'll be sure to tell everyone about it in my next video. It would bring down the non-gameplay left and right presses down by a lot, because if we can't beat the tower level, then we can't take the secret exit to World 7. For now though, we're going to need to find a way to skip this level. And it just so happens that the level that we just played, Bridge Over Poisoned Waters, has a secret exit, but it's really hard to complete. Or so I thought. To get to the secret exit, you have to get past the brick block bridge. Say that 5 times fast. After the bridge, there's a Koopa Troopa. Hit him and throw his shell at a brick block to have a vine come up so you can go to the clouds. Once in the clouds, you'll find a gaping hole that is too long to jump past, even with a spin jump. My first plan was to go into 4-player mode and make a human and mushroom head ladder, but that was really hard to set up because after a few jumps on the head, the player who is jumping on the head gets bounced off, which usually meant falling back down to the rest of the level. And my best attempt was nowhere close to where it needed to be, and even if I got a perfect 3-head ladder, I still wouldn't go far enough. Luckily for me, I had already thought of a better strategy. The idea was to get a pink baby Yoshi. That would give me the maximum height possible, but to get to it I had to go back to Acorn Plains and beat 3 levels. The first level was the normal exit in Tilted Tunnels, which is basically the same as the secret exit, just don't go up. The next level is Acorn Plains Tower, Crushing Cog's Tower. For vertical levels, you want to make sure that one bro has been thrown at a wall so they face left and leave the other bro facing right. That way when you finish a left-facing challenge, you can just pop the other bro and go right. This makes it so that you don't have to waste any time throwing each other at a wall. The level isn't too hard if you just, make sure not to get smushed. And Boom Boom isn't too hard if you just time your jumps and updrift away after you hit him. Acorn Plains 3 Yoshi Hill is our first level with Yoshi, who doesn't help us at all because he can't move right. And it's also our first level with these stupid Monty Moles, which I hate. Even with the Monty Moles, it's still pretty easy to beat the level. Now we have our pink baby Yoshi, but another problem has already risen, and that's actually getting the pink baby Yoshi to the secret exit. You see, pink baby Yoshi doesn't move us right at all, only up. Throwing him along might work if these rolling logs didn't just kill baby Yoshi. Good thing I had another idea for getting the baby Yoshi to the secret exit. You see, there's actually another way to move right in this game, and it's called the edge of the screen. Yes, I'm serious. I had my brother Parker play as Luigi and fly into the air with baby Yoshi while I played the level like normal. When I get close to the edge of the right side of the screen, the left edge of the screen scrolls, thus moving Luigi. The trick was to make sure that at the edge of the screen, Luigi had solid ground to land on. We actually made it pretty far, but then I died, so we lost baby Yoshi. So before getting baby Yoshi back, I made sure to get to a checkpoint and tactically take a death. And because we already completed the level once, we can just keep quitting whenever we fail and go back to the checkpoint. But even after the checkpoint, it was still pretty hard because of the aforementioned brick block bridge. We had to have Luigi stop in specific spots to refill Pink Baby Yoshi's flying power. After we knew where we had to stop, we could reliably get it 2/3 of the time. The next part with these horizontally moving brick blocks wasn't too bad. Parker just had to learn the timing of when to drop down, but it still took a little bit of getting used to. After several attempts, we were finally here, and now it's time for the moment of truth. Are you kidding me? We did all of that, and it didn't even work? I was thinking about how to get farther to the right, and then I remembered what we were doing the whole entire level, moving the screen to the right. The plan was to have Mario move the screen as much to the right as possible, and then bubble before going too far down to the bottom of the screen and making us go back down to the rest of the level. While Mario was moving the screen, Luigi was flying with Pink Baby Yoshi like usual. So Luigi threw baby Yoshi and started updrifting, and it still wasn't enough. At this point, I was thinking of stupid idea after stupid idea, hoping one of them would work because I did not want to go a different route. You know, sometimes I think that when you think so many stupid ideas, you get one. and only one really great idea, and that's exactly what happened this time. I was thinking that the only way to get across is to have a third way of moving right. If we just had one more updrift, then we can make it. So the next time we got there, we did everything the same as last time until the end, where Mario got popped out of his bubble by Luigi and Mario made it through. I was so excited that Mario got through that I forgot to bubble Luigi, and he was so close to the bottom of the screen. I just didn't want to do it one more time. All I had to do was unpause the game and bubble, and yes, we made it! It was finally over! Me and Parker went crazy. And our parents in the kitchen cooking dinner probably thought we were nuts, but it didn't matter, because we had been playing this for hours and hours, and we had conquered it. After I was done with the whole challenge, it started to bug me that the non-gameplay presses had to go up so that we could get the pink baby Yoshi. I mean, non-gameplay presses weren't our biggest priority, but it was still annoying. I was thinking about just how high Mario got, and I was wondering if we even needed the baby Yoshi. So I went back, and lo and behold, it's possible. Which meant that everything we did with the baby Yoshi was useless. Well, not really, because I don't know if I would have been able to think about the bubble maneuver, patent pending, if I hadn't have had so many devastating defeats. So, thank you, Parker. You made my idea become a reality. Taking the secret exit lets us skip a few levels, sadly including the secret exit to World 7, and takes us to Soda Jungle 7 Wiggler Stampede. This level's pretty easy until after the checkpoint. You have to hit a P-switch by throwing another player at a wall to make them face left. Hitting the P-switch isn't too hard. The real problem is that once the brick blocks turn into coins, the Wiggler starts to move, and he moves fast. So you have to time it to where you hit the P-switch when the Wiggler is walking away from the brick blocks so Mario can jump on him. But even after you do that successfully, there's still another P-switch you have to hit. Just make sure you have enough momentum to do little bounces to get there. The whole Wiggler ride is just about being precise, and I had already been playing this for hours, so I had gotten pretty good at being precise. And after the second P-switch, it's not too hard. The next level is Soda Jungle Castle, Iggy's volcanic castle, and this level is really not too hard, just so long as you ground pound at a safe spot before the lava title and not to get cocky. But the Iggy fight is fairly difficult. What made Boom Boom such an easy boss for this challenge is that he is always coming after you, which is great for a challenge where your movement is impaired. Now, Iggy is the exact opposite of Boom Boom, where he tries as much as possible not to come anywhere close to you, and just shoots his magic bursts at you and summons blargs in the lava. The first time I fought him, I was still thinking of a plan for attack and quickly died. My first plan of attack was to stay at the right side of the screen and shoot fireballs at Iggy, which could have worked if I didn't lose my fire flower. Iggy actually did come to the right side, and I got a hit off him, but then met a spiky demise. While the fireball strategy can work, it would take a lot of skill and would be harder than my next plan. The problem with the Iggy fight, as we've seen, is that being to one side isn't great, because Iggy just runs away from you, and when he eventually does come to you, you're usually not ready for it and end up getting hit. So to fix these problems, we're going to put one bro on each side of the screen, so that way we know that every time Iggy comes down, he's going to go to one of the bros. Hitting Iggy is pretty easy now, but the real challenge comes when Iggy is in his spiky shell. It's hard to think about which controller I need to make jump and when to jump, and to get ready to have the other bro jump. The first time I tried it, Iggy killed me, but the next time I got a fire flower, which didn't help too much at the start, but once Mario was dead, he was in a bubble and Iggy was running away, and I shot a fireball at Mario's bubble, and Mario stomped on Iggy's head. Hashtag all part of the plan. Wait, do people even use hashtags anymore? Whatever. Now we've completed World 5 and we're moving on to World 6, Rock Candy Mines, which is a bittersweet note because from here on out there are no more easy levels. All levels now are either tricky, hard, or absolutely terrible. Okay, here we go, on to Rock Candy Mines 1, Fuzzy Clifftop. This is a hard level that involves a lot of timing between figuring out when to jump on these stretch blocks and dodging fuzzies. The good thing about this level is that it's pretty short. There's not really much more to say about this level other than that. and that we beat it. Moving on to Rock Candy Mines 2, Porcupuffer Falls. At first, I was excited for this level because it's another underwater level, and that means having a leisurely swim with Toadette. But there's one big problem. One big fishy problem. The problem is the Porcupuffer. Porcupuffer is annoying, to put it bluntly. Trying to come out of the water, Porcupuffer's there. Trying to go down a donut block, Porcupuffer's there. Trying to go past a pillar, Porcupuffer's there. Trying to dodge an urchin, Porcupuffer's there. Just trying to mind your own business, Porcupuffer's there! Just be mindful of the space that Porcupuffer can hit you in, and you can make it. Next up is Rock Candy Mines Tower, Grinding Stone Tower. This is a level that falls into the category of absolutely terrible. How I justify a level to be absolutely terrible is if it's hard and grueling from the very start to the very finish. And from the first set of grinders all the way up to the boss fight door, this level does not have an easy section. Heck, one of the sections is near impossible if you don't use a secret wall meant to get a mini mushroom to get the secret exit. Ooh, what a nice segue. The secret exit is really, really hard to get to. It's also hard to put into words just how hard it is. You have to get a basically perfect updrift, and then quickly pop the person with the mini mushroom to get to the pipe. And after that, there's a good chance that you won't have a super acorn, so you'll have to throw each other across the pipes to get to the end. And after all of that, it turns out that the secret exit actually has more non-gameplay presses than the normal exit, which I'm honestly fine with, because Shifting Floor Cave also seems like an absolutely terrible level. So that means that we'll have to do the boss fight. The boss fight in this tower is Boom Boom, but this time Kamek gave him wings. But he's still pretty easy just because he always comes to you, and I got a pretty lucky final hit. Rock Candy Mines 4, Light Blocks Dark Tower is the next level, and this level has switches that you can hit to turn on the lights. Just make sure that you know where the light switches are. Once the lights are on, it's not too difficult, even if there are a lot of low ceilings. Moving on to Rock Candy Mines 5, Walking Piranha Plants! Sorry, this level has an exclamation point in its name. As the name suggests, this level has walking piranha plants. It can be a bit tricky to know when to ground pound and make sure that a piranha plant doesn't just walk into you. Other than that, there's not too much to talk about, except for the secret exit, which is facing to the left, so make sure to throw Luigi at a wall before the pipe, and you'll be good. We'll talk a bit more about the significance of the secret exit later. For now, we're going into our second tower level of the world. And that level is Rock Candy Mines Tower, Screwtop Tower. This is a pretty difficult level, but when you learn it, you can beat it pretty easily. The real challenge is the boss Sumo Bro. The best strategy I found is to have one bro stay on the left side of the screen dodging whatever they can, while the other bro updrifts to any of the platforms that the Sumo Bro is on, ground pounding on the sloped surfaces and bubbling back to the player on the left side whenever they go too far to the right. You know what? I think I'll let you guys watch the fight, starting right before I get the second hit. Pay close attention to the timer and feel free to hold your breath. One second. That's all the time I had to spare. 1 second. Safe to say, I went absolutely bonkers after I did that. Okay, now it's time to see how the secret exit we got before helps us now. Well, what the secret exit does is lets us skip this blue switch here and instead lets us hit this red switch. This lets us go on this red block path and takes us into the back of Rock Candy Mines Castle, Roy's Conveyor Castle, in turn skipping way more than half of the level. Roy is actually not too hard. I mean, he has platforms that move left and right. By far the easiest boss we've fought so far, besides Boom Boom. And yet I died 5 times! One of them being this, which I don't even know what to say about that, except Luigi had to go so I could win this boss. Yeah, this boss is easy, I just suck. Anyways, we're now in World 7 Moraine Clouds, and we are getting down to the wire with some of the hardest levels we've faced so far. First on our list is Moraine Clouds 1, Land of the Flying Blocks. This level has you on a moving cloud, dodging blocks that obstruct your path, waddle wings that swoop at you, and piranha plants. Some of which are in pipes and some on platforms. When you're past the checkpoint, there's a section where you have to get past this piranha plant and go down here. The cloud goes pretty fast, so as long as you stay at the same speed as the cloud, you should be good. Moving on to Moraine Clouds 2, Seesaw Shrooms. This level uses, well, a lot of seesaw mushrooms platforms. The double pipe parts are a little bit tricky, but not too bad. It gets a little bit harder when Lakitu comes, but mostly just because of luck. The fuzzy part with the shrinking and growing pink mushroom platforms mixed with the Lakitu is pretty hard, but just be patient and you're good. I actually managed to beat the end of the level without a super acorn, and I was pretty surprised. Moraine Clouds Tower, Slide Lift Tower, is our next level, and it uses slide lifts. You know, the ones in the level's title. But the slide lifts aren't actually the problem in this level. In fact, they're pretty easy to platform on. But it's the Fire Bros that seem to guard almost every slide lift that are the problem. There are 2 slide lifts with Fire Bro guards before the checkpoint, but the one after the checkpoint is even harder than those 2 and cost me a few lives, but it only gets worse. The next one is behind a moving wall of slide lift that can crush you, while you're still trying to dodge the Fire Bros fireballs, and if all that wasn't enough, there's a fire bar that can hit you if you go too high. It's a triple threat, and it's barely possible. The last part of the level is an extreme timing challenge, where you have to updrift right after the fire bar goes away, and quickly have the other player who's facing left to updrift, and you'll just barely have enough time to make it through. You can also do it with only one scroll suit, but I wouldn't recommend it.
The boss fight with Kamek requires equal parts skill and luck. Skill for dodging Kamek's magic burst, the enemies he summons, and making sure you don't fall off a donut block. Luck for Kamek's movement and making sure that the other bro who you're bubbling to doesn't get crushed under a block, or for this to happen.
A good tip is also that even if you get hit by Kamek and lose your suit, if you ground pound, then you can actually get enough height to hit him. It takes a few tries to learn, but it's manageable. Next up is Moraine Clouds Ghost House, Spinning Spirit House. The level starts off with boos surrounding you, and the way to make boos not come to you is to look at them, which is easy for the ones on the right, but since it takes about 5 years to turn around, you're basically screwed if you don't jump off your bro's head immediately. After that, the real level starts, and to progress you have to go into doors to complete the challenges inside. None of the doors are really too hard to get through. The one with poles seems hard if you don't know about a fake wall that you can just skip all the poles with. This level also has a secret exit, and the way to get there is throwing this spring to the left, jumping on it, going through a fake ceiling, and going into this door.
Past the door, there's a staircase with a boo ring. I was scared that I was gonna run out of time, so I just threw Luigi and got a really lucky shot, instead of dodging the boo ring or using invincibility frames like I probably should have. After that, just make sure not to die to this boo like I did. Ouch, and you're done.
Using the secret exit lets us skip one level, and more importantly, saving 5 non-gameplay right presses, which moves us on to Moraine Clouds Castle, Ludwig's Clockwork Castle. The hardest part of the level is this part where you have to perfectly jump up here, and if you do it fast enough, you'll be able to just barely make it. This one part of the level took a whole lot of lives away from me. The whole rest of the level is just hard, but nothing quite as tight as the aforementioned part. The Ludwig boss fight isn't too hard, mostly because Ludwig comes to you, so even if you go too far to the right, you're not out of the fight, unless Ludwig jumps on your head. Yeah, if that happens, you're just screwed. Just make sure to get the easy first hit, hopefully get a lucky second hit, and just wait until Ludwig comes to you for the third hit. Next up is Moraine Clouds Airship, Boarding the Airship. This level has a mechanical Bowser hand that crushes you. Luckily, the spots where the hand slams down and fakes you out are always the same. But if you don't remember where the spots are like me, then here are some ways of dodging them. Some of the spots where the hand drops down has hiding places where you can duck under the hand. It's best to stay as far back to the left of the screen as possible so that if the hand is coming down on you, you can speed up, and if it's ahead of you, you can just stay back. After a while, the hand starts punching, which destroys the ground it punches, but doesn't really make it harder. The next part has these tilt lifts, which is actually as easy as it is normally, because you don't really have to move here at all. Instead, you just have to tilt the controller. The Bowser Jr. fight isn't too difficult. I think the best strategy is to wait for him to come to you instead of the other way around. Dodge his bombs and throw them back at him if you can, but I advise against it. We're at the home stretch now, World 8, Peach's Castle. And the first level of this world is Peach's Castle 1, Meteor Mode. This level has some difficult platforming and can get hard when the lava goes higher than the floor, but the hardest thing about this level is the luck part. Meteors fall from the sky in random spots, and sometimes you can get hit from so high up that you can't even see the meteor. Or sometimes it just comes straight down on you and you have absolutely no time to move away. But once you get good luck, you can beat it. Cruising on into Peach's Castle 2, Magma River Cruise, and this level is a pretty cool one, but also pretty hard. You're on a platform that when 5 or more enemies are on it stops, and only continues on when there are less than 5 enemies on the platform. Which doesn't sound too hard all on its own, but when you take into account that there's a toxic mist cloud following you at the same speed as the platform, so that every time the platform stops the mist gets closer, it's pretty scary. There are a few strategies, but I think that the best one is to just play like an absolute serial killer and just kill anything that comes aboard as swiftly as possible. Which is only hard because the stupid Monty moles are back. I mean, I just can't kill them. Every time I try, I fail. Just be persistent, dodge the blargs, stay on the platform, and you can do it. Moving on to Peach's Castle 3, Rising Tides of Lava. This level has some parts of the wall that have lava in it, and that's how you know how high the lava rises, so make sure to pay attention to that. This level also has some screw platforms that take you up or down, but they're not too hard to use correctly. Some of the sections with rising lava are a little bit tight, but overall the level is not the hardest we've encountered so far. Peach's Castle, Red Hot Elevator Ride is next, and it's basically the tilt lifts from boarding the airship and the platform from Magma River Cruise combined. But this time, it doesn't take 5 enemies to stop it. No. It takes 1. And if that wasn't bad enough, coins can stop it too. Since we're super slow at killing enemies, and it only takes 1 to stop the platform, if there's a pipe spawning enemies, then we're as good as dead. So we want to dodge having anything at all come onto the platform. It gets a little bit harder when the bombs start dropping down, so either throw or ground pound them off into the lava whenever you can. Also, getting into this door at the end is really annoying for some reason, but at least that's the end of it. And here we are, the main event, the thing that everyone's been waiting for, the last level of the game. Peach's Castle, the final battle. This level is tough, very tough, mostly because of Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr. slams down on you, which might as well just kill you, because once you lose your squirrel suit, you're basically dead. When he slams down, he can also block your path and kill you. Mix that with tricky platforming, lava bubbles, platforms that fall when Bowser Jr. slams down on them, platforms that knock you off when Bowser Jr. slams down on them, and you have a nightmare on your hands, if not for one thing that helps you. Bowser Jr. Yes, while Bowser Jr. can be annoying and is the only reason this level is hard at all, he's also the only reason it's bearable. By bouncing off his clown car, you can restore your updrift and updrift again. Try to chain as many updrifts as you can to skip what would otherwise be difficult sections. Don't get me wrong though, this is still a very hard section and took a lot of tries to beat, but it's doable. And now it's time. It's time for the end. As the name says, the final battle. After we go through this hallway and dodge Bowser's fireballs, and we did it! We win! Alright, you guys probably know that wasn't really the final battle. So let's do that now. This battle is actually not that hard. Like, at all. And that's because of one person, who actually isn't a person. Nabbit. Nabbit is the easiest character in the game because he cannot get hit at all.
The only way Nabbit can die is falling into bottomless pits, lava, poison, getting crushed, getting eaten by a cheap chomp, toxic mist, and running out of time. The Mario Wiki also says that Magmars and Magmaws can kill Nabbit, but I tried. I tried real hard, and I couldn't die, so I don't know what they're saying. Oh yeah, and I guess earlier in the video I called both of these Blargs. Well, now you know what their real names are. Anyways, none of that stuff is in this fight. Well, except for the time limit, but who cares about that?
We get invincibility frames after being popped from a bubble. So if we just keep bubbling to Nabbit, who is already invincible, then in turn we're also invincible. And with a Fire Flower, you can damage Bowser while you still have invincibility frames, and then bubble back to Nabbit. Do this for like 3.5 minutes, watch King Koopa fall to his doom, and we can say that it is possible to beat New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe without pressing left or right. This challenge was super difficult, and at many points I thought I was going to fail. I did not think that it would be possible to beat this. Now, do I feel a little bit guilty that I used Nabbit to beat the final boss of the game? Well, yeah, I do. So I went back with Mario and Luigi to see if I could beat it, and it looks like it's possible, but it's super hard. Although I kind of died and kind of ran out of super acorns, and then I realized that I didn't really feel that guilty, so I stopped. If this video gets 20 likes, then I'll do a video seeing if you can beat New Super Luigi U without pressing left or right. And if this video somehow gets 50 likes, which is most likely never gonna happen, I'll do a live stream trying to beat the final boss of the game without using Nabbit. So, you know, go like the video. Go. But now, it's time for what everyone may or may not care about. The final total of non-gameplay left and right presses. Drumroll please. And the final total is 7 non-gameplay left presses and 23 non-gameplay right presses. Here are all the stats on the screen, somewhere here if you really care about them. Now, the theoretical number could be lowered to 3 non-gameplay left presses and to 14 non-gameplay right presses if Soda Jungle Tower Snake Block Tower was beaten. But for right now, I'm happy with the final number. Okie doke.
Ultra mode activated.
So, my friend Dia always beats me at Mario Kart 8. I'm not proud to admit it, but it is what it is. So that's why I'm challenging her to complete this challenge. If she completes it, then I guess she's a better gamer than me. Well, this has been a really fun challenge, and I just read a script that was over 7,200 words long, so I'm gonna have a lozenge. And this video isn't sponsored by Halls, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. That's the outro. Click over here for a suggested video, and over here for an awesome video, and up here press it to subscribe. Yeah, wait like 15 seconds. I don't actually have a watch. Okay, bye now.